In 2009, an idea was born on the streets of San Francisco that changed how millions of people travel. The rideshare giant Uber burst into the scene. Today, it's one of the world's most recognizable brands. But for Uber, it's been far from a smooth ride. A series of scandals has severely damaged its reputation, and despite its popularity, it's still losing millions of dollars. To Uber is embedded in the language of a new generation. If one person is responsible, it's this man. Travis Kalanick was 32 and had already made millions from a technology startup when he co-founded Uber. Kalanick began Uber in 2009 as a way to order or hire a car using a smartphone, before coming up with UberX, an app to hire drivers in their private cars. The launch of UberX sparked furious protests from taxi drivers all around the world. In most places, transport regulators declared it an illegal taxi service. In country after country, Kalanick defied the authorities trying to shut him down. In its quest for dominance, Uber developed a suite of software tools and covert techniques to fight against the regulators and the adversaries. In San Francisco, Uber set up a global strategic nerve center, known as a Threat Operation Division or Threat Ops. The alleged activities of the Threat Ops Division were revealed in 2017 by former Uber intelligence head Richard Jacobs. One of Uber's covert tools was a piece of software designed to force its competitors out of business by stealing the drivers. It was codenamed as Hell. Uber not only targeted its competitors, it also went after government authorities. It deployed another powerful software program, Ripley, across its global offices. Ripley was used to remotely delete companies' data during raids by government investigators. In 2014, UberX launched in Australia, now one of the most successful markets. Nearly 4 million Australian users use Uber on a daily basis. When UberX started in Australia, it was declared illegal, so Uber threw incentives at drivers, trying to get them to sign up and work for them. Uber deployed another spyware called Greywall to outwit regulators as it muscled its way into the Australian market. It was a software tool that Uber could attach to other people's phones to essentially serve them a different version of the app. Uber considered Greywall as a very effective way of stopping the government from being able to enforce their laws and forcing them to change it. Uber's tactics had a devastating effect on an early Australian competitor called GoCatch, which developed a taxi-hailing app. GoCatch chose not to launch Uber-style ride-sharing until laws were changed to allow it. What GoCatch didn't know, that in Australian Uber headquarters another covert tool was being developed. Secret program Surfcam was developed in 2015 by an employee in Uber's Sydney office. Surfcam was used to gather data to poach drivers from the rival companies. Uber's Surfcam spyware was used covertly against GoCatch to identify driver details. This allowed Uber to directly contact the GoCatch drivers and lure them to work for Uber. Uber later confessed that Surfcam's use has been banned, and that today Uber has robust policies to ensure ethical practices. In only few years, Uber had outsmarted authorities and rivals to assert itself as the world's dominant ride-share company. But in 2017, when at all costs culture that helped get it there caught up with Uber.
Google spinoff Waymo claims that Uber possesses stolen trade secrets related to self-driving cars.
A very confident Travis Kalanick was on the stand for just a little more than 2 hours today, and the prosecution team picked up right where they left off yesterday and continued to grill him today.
Google sued Uber, accused of stealing its sensitive information about its autonomous car program. Uber went on and settled the case for $245 million. Then, following a sensational trial in India, women raped by Uber drivers sued the company. She accuses senior executive of illegally obtaining data of her medical records to undermine her credibility. Uber later on settled this case too. By mid-2017, Uber's board and investors have had enough, forcing Travis Kalanick to resign his position. Despite the change in leadership, Uber's troubles continued. After a mass protest by drivers of the London's black cabs, the city's transport department announced Uber would be banned. Uber successfully appealed the ban and remains on probation. Now, Uber is delivering a whole new type of disruption in a completely different industry. Customers pay $5 for the delivery fees to Uber, and Uber also takes a big cut of the sales from the restaurant. The popularity of Uber Eats is essentially eliminating the walk-in customers of the restaurants. Uber Eats and similar delivery services have even spawned what are called dark kitchens that have no shop front. Though Uber may be one of the most popular companies, it is experiencing serious losses. In the last 2 years alone, it's lost more than $6 billion. One way Uber is trying to pump up its future is by pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into developing a self-driving car. Uber claims its fully functional, autonomous cars will be on the road in 5 to 10 years. Perhaps Uber's grandest future vision is Uber Air. That vision is for thousands of autonomous flying taxis over world's major cities. Uber plans to start testing its flying taxis next year and launch a commercial service by 2023. Uber is entering a whole new world of competition. Its challenge is to convince the public and the investors to come along and join its ride to the future.